those waves. 6 inches to 2 feet. You gotta be crazy to be out here. And it's a good thing I'm crazy. Woo! Whoa! Now these waves are big enough, if I'm going backwards straight into them, they come up over the back. And we'll do something like this. Heading straight into them. It's crazy. But the bow of the boat is nice and high, free and clear, no problems. It'll change a little bit when I get the decking and whatever in here for that, which I hope to do this coming week. So there's a little preview. And this is Crazy Pete. Don't try this at home unless you're willing to take your life into your own hands. Yeah, I really should have a flotation device. Whoops. Yeah, they can be expensive, especially if you don't have one in the right size. I found out that I need a 4X. And you know, size varies from manufacturer to manufacturer. In one manufacturer's size, and they go by width around the chest and width around the gut, so just underneath the arms and right around the belly button. Yeah, I found out that I'm a 6 extra large in one brand and a 4 extra large in another brand. But I'm a double X when it comes down to t-shirts. And double X are nice and roomy. Most of the time. Until they go in the wash and they shrink a little bit. But, yeah. Flotation device is a good thing to have. And prices vary. The one I ordered, it took 3 weeks to come in. But I have to go and pay for it, don't have the cash for it. The cheapest one in my size was $40. So, and I could have picked a real nice one. You know, real nice with, you know, a couple zipper pockets that fold down, have a nice little tray there with slots for fishing flies and jigs and, you know, line and everything else, but those are over $100. You know, crazy stuff. Crazy like me. But, yeah, thought I'd show you these crazy waves. You know, it's starting to get late, I'm heading in. And I have no idea what these fish are that are jumping around me, because none of them have jumped clear out the water so I can see them. But they could be Asian carp. They might not be. I am in the right area for them to be. But, yeah. I'm looking into getting a nice cast net. You know, something about 4 to 6 feet in diameter. Something that I can toss just to see if these bait balls that are showing up on my transducer are in fact bait balls that might be bait balls of Asian carp. Because people have said that, Asian carp have been moving into this certain area and whatnot, and if that's true, and there's small, 2-inch bait fish that happen to be Asian carp, well, the DNR are gonna get a nice little phone call, and, we don't want Asian carp to migrate further north. Right now, I am in Pool 7 of the Mississippi River. Asian carp have just started to take over Pools 7 and 8. And Pools 7 and 8 of the Mississippi River are massive. And when I say Asian carp, I'm not trying to be, racist, biased, whatever. Asian carp is a classification and a basic name given for silver carp, bighead carp, grass carp, and black carp, I believe is the fourth one. I'm not sure on the name of the last one, but I do know that the last one, I think it's black carp, primarily eat crustaceans, mussels, and they are so rare up here in the northern areas that they're almost non-existent in the registry, so not a big deal. Grass carp, there's a couple spots that have been prevalent in Pool 8. Pool 7, I don't think they've had any grass carp. So that's fairly good. Grass carp, just like their name implies, eat grass. They eat a lot of grass. In fact, they can eat 2/3 their body weight in plant matter per day. And only a quarter of that is digested. Between a quarter and a half is digested. The rest of it is expelled into the water. People say that's good. But actually, when the conditions are right, which means the pH has to be right, there has to be the right temperature, there has to be, the right rainfall and all that stuff. But it is possible to have an algal bloom. And an algal bloom is something that happens kind of like red tide on the oceans, but an algal bloom is something that can just suck the oxygen right out of the water, and it can suffocate whole populations of fish in a body of water. Now, in a river system, it's unlikely to happen, but in some of these backwater marshy areas, an algal bloom that is concentrated in one of these smaller marshy areas can be devastating for the fish population in that small marshy area. And that can be just terrible, because there are some, not only fish, but turtles, snakes, some birds, and whatnot that feed on, plant life and aquatic life that live in those environments. And if an algal bloom takes out the entire food chain in the water, it can have a serious effect on everything above and beyond in that food chain. So, you have to be very conscious of what kind of damage these invasive species can do. Now, as far as the silver and the bighead carp, which are the major players in the invasive population here in pools 7 and 8. Silver carp, they can get up to 30 pounds. They can be 3 foot long. But they eat phytoplankton and zooplankton, which is basically what baby fish need, what baby fish eat. That's all your little fish. That's all your bluegills. That's all your shad. That's all your minnows. That's all the shrimp. Everything that eats the phytoplankton and the zooplankton and the small aquatic life is affected by these silver carp that just mow down on the zooplankton and the phytoplankton. And they can basically starve out entire populations because they can have hundreds of thousands of spawn in a single season. And once they become of breeding age, which is, I think, 5 to 7 years, and by that time they're about, a foot long, but they can completely ruin a population. They school up, they can completely devastate a population. As far as bighead carp go, they eat the larger things. They eat larger shrimp, they eat the zooplankton, they eat smaller bait fish, they eat invertebrates like worms, bloodworms, red worms. They eat a whole lot of stuff. A lot of the stuff that maturing fish need. Now, these bighead carp, they mature at about the same rate, and they can get big. We're talking these things can get 5 feet long and can weigh upwards of 80 pounds. Apparently, silver and bighead carp are also very, very nutritious. And they've been almost completely overfished in their native habitats because they are very nutritious. Something about the way they eat, their filtration process of what they eat, makes all the bad chemicals and whatnot in the water non-present in their meat. So that's something to think about when you think about these fish. Now, DNR in the state of Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Iowa, and in most states that I know of, dictate that silver and bighead carp need to be killed and removed from the riverbank completely if they are caught. And that is by snag, by hook and line, or by bow fishing. They are to be eviscerated and removed from the shoreline. They are apparently a very hardy fish. They can survive without air for, I think, 18 hours, according to the documentary I watched, which is quite amazing for a fish that's not a lungfish. So, where am I? But, yeah, these invasive species have to be killed and eviscerated, which means head removed or completely gutted if they are caught at all. And it is mandatory to report, at least in the state of Wisconsin and Minnesota, mandatory to report where they are caught, when they are caught, how many, so on and so forth, to the Fish and Wildlife Service. That way, they can, keep records and hopefully keep everything under control. The primary goal being not to let Asian carp into the Great Lakes. Because if the Asian carp are able to get into the Great Lakes, the fishing market, the large fishing boats and everything like that fish in the Great Lakes, the fish market is possibility to collapse completely because of the Asian carp population. There's already serious concerns over the round goby population, which is another invasive species brought over from Europe. Wow, I rambled on again. Well, I guess I will see you next time. And just remember, even if you're handicapped, you can enjoy the outdoors. Have a good one.